Hey guys, it's Ryan
And Ashley.
from Ruining Our Childhood.
In case you forgot, because you're listening to this episode right now.
Yes, and we don't get our ads played during other podcasts. We just wanted to remind you that we're coming up on our 20th episode extravaganza.
Woo!
And it's going to be a Q&A episode.
Yes, we're going to answer your questions that have just been burning in your brain about me and Ryan. Go ahead and just DM us on Instagram at Ruining Our Childhood, or
We're on Facebook at Ruining Our Childhood.
yes, and just let us, just ask whatever question you want to ask.
Yeah.
When did we meet? How did we meet?
Yeah.
Who are we? What are you
we
doing
do for a
here?
living? Yeah. What are our favorite movies?
Where am I?
What is our least favorite movie
Yeah.
ever? Just, go ahead.
What
Throw anything.
do we like outside of movies, maybe?
Yeah.
If you want to know. If you don't want to know, then that's fine too.
Yeah. If you guys don't, we'll just, like you said, we'll do some generic questions.
But we would really like you to send us some questions our way.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what you want to know about me and Ryan. Enjoy the rest of the episode, guys.
Bye.
Bye. This coming-of-age film follows the mayhem of a group of rowdy teenagers in Austin, Texas, celebrating the last day of high school in 1976.
This is Ryan.
This is Ashley.
And this is
Ruining Our Childhood,
a weekly podcast where we remove our childhood goggles and put on our adult bifocals to rewatch and review our favorite movies from the past.
That is correct. And if you're just joining us, hi, my name's Ashley.
This is Ryan.
We just said that.
Yep.
We say it every time.
Correct.
And if you're somebody that has listened to every episode, what's up, man?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're so nice.
Yeah.
I don't know your name, but thank you.
We appreciate
Mom.
it.
I'm just kidding. My mom doesn't listen to this podcast.
My aunt does.
I told my mom about it, and she's just like, cool. No further questions needed.
Nothing else needed.
Good for you.
Yeah. Oh, you started a podcast? Cool. What's about movies? I like movies.
I think her first question should have been, what's a podcast? Because I don't think she knows what those are. But she didn't follow it up, so I was like, cool, you don't care. Gotcha.
It's like,
Message received.
done. She's going to now message you this week and be like, I was listening to your podcast that you told me about that I listen to every week, and I really appreciate you bad-mouthing me. Thank you, Ashley.
Okay. I don't think she'll even hear this once, but...
Okay. Well.
And my brother better not tell her.
Ooh. Good friend of the podcast, Brandon, getting the evil eye through the podcast.
I paused for dramatic effect.
Yes, you did.
And I might edit that out, but we'll see.
Okay.
So just in case... Sorry, we're getting off topic. Just in case you didn't get the summary, I'm going to say another time. Our movie this week is the 1993 classic, Dazed and Confused. Classic.
Yes.
I didn't do it this time. I'm sorry.
Wow. That movie is going to be 26 years old.
Yeah?
That's...
Sorry, I was trying to math in my head. I was like, no.
Nah, Ryan's making that up, and you're like, oh, wait.
Yeah. No, it's old as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit of facts about 1993, right?
I will do that. This movie was released on September 24th, 1993. It had a budget of $6.9 million and grossed $8 million. So, not a huge box office success, but this is obviously a movie that has developed a massive cult following since then. Fun facts about 1992. Popular songs were I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, That's the Way Love Goes by Janet Jackson, and Dream Lover by Mariah Carey. So
nice.
We're hitting all the
divas.
Divas, yeah. 92 was a big year for them. Or 93, sorry. Popular movies would be Jurassic Park, Mrs. Doubtfire, and The Fugitive.
Nice.
Popular TV shows, Home Improvement, Seinfeld, and a little show called Roseanne.
Awesome. I remember all those shows.
I was going to say, I remember all of these things. Yeah.
So
it really was the prime for my childhood.
It was. It was a little early for me. When this movie came out, I did not watch it. I discovered it, I want to say around 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was playing on TV or whatever, or my brother rented it. I honestly can't remember. I just know I liked it immediately. Because I always loved movies that were set in different time periods than... I wasn't born in the 70s. I have no clue what the 70s are like.
Yeah.
My only reference to any other time period other than my own is movies, basically.
Yeah.
And I guess, books.
That's a good point. Like, that is the main... I mean, it's stories from family and movies.
Yeah.
Because, like, I remember in school, we didn't learn about the 70s.
I don't know.
Like in history class?
That's true. There's probably nothing in the vague history of the 1970s other than the bicentennial. That's the only thing I remember. Maybe.
A little bit of Vietnam.
Yeah.
A little bit of Watergate.
But it was a very
calm... was it.
I think it was because it was a time of prosperity, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Especially towards the end, and it was like disco. Some people might want to forget that part.
Yeah.
But it was part of our American history. The thing I remember about this movie, why I liked it, was it had two actors that I kind of became obsessed with at preteen and teenage level. Ben Affleck.
Correct.
And I loved me some Jason London. Or Jeremy London. They're interchangeable for me.
They really were.
I can never remember which movie which one was in, but I thought they were cute, and I loved every movie that those twins were in. I know they're a little messed up now these days, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google Jason or Jeremy London, because I can't remember which one had the crazier story. I think
one got quote-unquote kidnapped and forced to do drugs.
I can't remember which one that was.
Yeah.
I guess I could look it up. It's not like I don't have a computer right in front of me, but we're not, the podcast is not about that. I just thought they were cute. So, of course, I watched the movie.
Yeah.
And the movie's, from what I remember, the movie's hilarious and fun. So,
for me, it was a movie that I had heard of, but never saw until I met you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know if I knew that.
It was I would say, one of the first movies we watched when we started dating together, when we would just get together and watch a movie together. Yeah. And I remember I had heard of it and I didn't know who was in it. And I remember asking you who was in it, and you gave me the hard sell on Ben Affleck's in it. And you're like, and McConaughey's in it. And that's pretty much all I needed to know.
They both have very small parts.
Yeah.
In comparison to the rest of the cast. They're not the main characters, but having those two actors are very famous, so having them in the movie kind of sells it.
No, definitely. And the one thing that made an impression on me was McConaughey.
Yeah.
There's what I like about high school girls, or what is it? They get younger.
Or
I keep getting older and they keep staying the same age, or something like that. Yeah.
Total creep.
Yeah.
That's not going to age well, but,
No, but that's when
it's also realistic to the small town.
And then you look at, this was a small part for both of them, and now, like you said, they are uber A-list actors. So
I know there's a couple other people in the movie that I'll recognize, but I don't want to talk about them too much or spoil it for you or us. And I'm hoping there's going to be a random person that I totally forgot about, because I probably haven't seen this movie since we saw it together. And
which probably would have been 2006.
Yeah. So
that's probably when we saw it.
We're so old.
Yes. We are some old farts.
I'm hoping somebody that's a little older than us that are listening to this podcast are like, shut the fuck up. You're in your early 30s.
You're not that old.
Shut up.
Yeah. I was 40 when this movie came out, you son of a bitch.
What do you think about this movie? Do you think it's going to hold up?
I think it's going to be a similar situation to, Virgin Suicides. I almost said Suicide Squad.
God. I didn't watch that movie.
Suicide Squad totally holds up. So I think it's because the dated references won't be too many.
Yeah.
And I think there's some really good actors in this movie. I think it's going to hold up. I'm going to enjoy it. I remember, that was one thing, I remember laughing my butt off at this movie when you showed it to me.
Yeah.
So
I think it will hold up. There'll probably be some things that age it, but I think what will benefit it. Wow, can't talk. Benefit it is the fact that it's set in 1976. So there's going to be stuff that dates it, but it's going to date it in the way that
you want it to.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So I think we'll be fine. I hope it will still be funny and entertaining and relatable, because I always felt like it was kind of relatable, especially the kid character that I can't remember I don't think the kid that is like kind of the main character. I don't think he acts anymore. And I can't remember his name, but I think his character was relatable because having been a younger sibling and feeling like you're trying to live up to what I think he has an older sister. So everybody's kind of putting him on this, like, oh, you're so-and-so's little brother. And I, having been the little sister of somebody that was pretty popular in high school, I always related to that character. So
mine were not. My siblings were not popular.
Burn on your face.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. You guys grew up in a way bigger school, though.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it wasn't that hard to be popular in my high school. You
true.
had to be trying really hard not to be popular in my high school.
I would say in Ohio, where we grew up, and then we moved west when I was just about a teenager. Back there, they were popular kids, and definitely got the... Well,
because if you move, especially, like, for your oldest brother who was in high school already, that's
sophomore year, that's when you want to move.
You're kind of setting up your kid to fail in the popularity.
But I would say, like, I definitely got the, oh, are you so-and-so's brother?
Yeah.
You know, whatever. And, like, usually it was somebody who liked them, which was always nice. Or, in the rare case, it was somebody who didn't.
Oh, your brother's a dick.
Yeah, your brother's a jerk. And you're like, yeah, I live down the hall from him.
I'm fully aware.
Yeah.
Anyway, hopefully this movie does exceed our expectations, does hold up, and we're going to go ahead and hit that pause right now, and we'll come back and discuss what? Oh, yeah.
Ashley, she does it every week.
Giving me a judgy look, and I was
like, literally holding up one finger, like, hey, wait a minute, where can they stream this? And you just kept going. You're like, we're going to hit that pause, and we're going to go watch this movie. And I'm like going...
I thought you were saying I'm number one or something. I don't know what you're doing.
I'm just arbitrarily telling you where I rank.
What does that even mean?
No.
You need to come up with some hand signals.
One. It's not telling you where you rank. Or where I rank. We don't issue rankings in this house. Well, Rupert, you rank third. I just walk around pointing 3 fingers up for the dog.
Anyway. So, yes, I skipped a little segment of where you can find it if you don't own Dazed and Confused on DVD like we do. You can find it online, of course. You know?
Yeah.
But you do have to pay for it, looks like, because I don't see it on Netflix or Amazon Prime, though Google is a liar, as I found out last week. So
yeah, we told everybody you gotta be paying for Virgin Suicides, and guess what?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, free, guys.
Yeah.
Prime. As long as you have a Prime membership.
That's true. So in the grand scheme of things, you do have to pay the Prime membership, but, you know.
It's such a good deal.
If you're...
Free 2-day shipping? Come on, guys.
We're not sponsored by Amazon Prime.
No.
But we would like to
Ooh, be. Amazon, if you're listening, throw us a like.
I'm putting my hands on my chin. Like a glamour shot.
I was like, what are you doing?
I don't know. They can't see.
No,
anyway.
No one can.
So, it's available pretty much on any app that you would rent a movie. So, sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But, you know, hopefully maybe you own it. I feel like it was on Netflix at one point in time.
It was.
I almost want to go check. Not right now. I'll tell you later. But
yeah, we'll let you know when we come back.
We'll let you know. Anyway, what else was I going to say? Nothing. We're done. We're going to go watch the movie now.
Wrap it up!
You want to do the wrap it up finger?
Yeah.
That's on the Anna Ferris's podcast. Anyway.
Okay.
So, we'll be right back to discuss Dazed and Confused. Bye.
Bye. And we're back. We just finished watching Dazed and Confused. And we're going to go ahead and break down our movie with our usual categories. So first thing we're going to do is fire up that 8-track player and talk about some technology.
Yeah.
What pieces of technology did you notice?
There wasn't a lot.
No.
And I know we say that sometimes. There wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
But there were literally... I said literally weird.
Yeah.
La, la, la.
Take a shot.
Obviously, it's 1976, so there's things that they have to show you that will remind you of 1976.
Yeah.
And the 8-track player in one of the cars was one of them. And then the only other piece I saw was towards the end of the movie, Mitch is coming home. He's the freshman that got lucky enough to be picked out by some of the seniors, and he got to party with them.
Yeah.
And he puts on his headphones, and they're really large.
Yeah.
And they're the typical ones, and he
It's
probably has a record player, but they didn't even show the record player. But
It's like big earmuffs.
yeah, they're huge.
I guess the only thing that I noticed that would kind of go with it was they are all kind of hanging out at this place called the Emporium, and it's like a pool hall slash arcade.
Yeah.
And it was the pinball machine that they were playing was very
Very
basic. You could tell the actual like pinball board was wood.
Yeah.
Which
For sure.
Super basic, but
those were the only two things I noticed. So yeah,
that's impressive. Like,
because most of the movie is set just basically the kids driving around. So
yeah,
there's not really a lot of room for there to have a lot of technology, I guess, because they never really go home.
No, just when what's his name? Pickford, I think is his name. He's the one who's going to throw the party.
Yes.
And then, my heart went out to him when his parents like kind of figured out that he was going to throw a party, and they're like, "Unpack the bags.
Yeah,
we're not going anywhere." And I was just like, "Oh man, poor guy."
And he even got the guy to like go along with him and be like, "Oh, I was delivering the wrong house," and his dad still wasn't buying it.
Yeah, no.
The one thing I did want to talk, because we have been adding this as a part of the technology category, is if we're watching it on DVD, some of the DVD special features or commercials.
Yes.
And the soundtrack, well, the DVD commercials were pretty amazing.
Oh boy, were they ever.
My favorite was the Quantum Leap Season 2 commercial. First time ever on DVD.
Yeah. And they said Quantum Leap is going to make its best leap yet into your DVD collection. Yeah. And I was just like, that is the cheesiest thing I've ever heard.
I love that show, though.
And then the Billy Madison Happy Gilmore DVD 2-pack.
Yes.
Which they were advertising. It features 5.1 digital surround sound. Who has ever bought a DVD and went, I hope this has got that 5.1 digital surround sound?
You know, there's got to be some audio nerds out there, but I don't see it as a selling point, though. How about the soundtrack? It was amazing.
I love the soundtrack. Yeah. There was so much good music on it.
For sure.
And I kept trying to catch the filmmaker and putting a song on the soundtrack that wasn't out in 1976.
Me too, because I feel like older movies were a little more lax on keeping it historically accurate. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure if we went to the IMDb page, we could look up the goofs, and I'm sure there's something, so-and-so's shoes actually didn't come out until 78. But
yeah,
the music would definitely be something I would notice. I actually looked up the Runaways song because I was like, why do I feel like that song came out in 78? Mm-hmm. But it was 76. Yeah. It was Cherry Bomb.
Yeah, but they had School's Out by Alice Cooper, which I think any movie that is going to transfer you from a school year to a summer, you have to have that song. It's like literally written into the bylaws of film.
He probably wrote that song knowing this is going to be in every movie when kids are leaving school.
In our case, remember that song by Vitamin C, Graduation?
Yes.
She's like, well, this is going to be played at every graduation till time ends.
Pretty much.
And I think it ended up I think everyone listens to Green Day's Time of Your Life is the one that replaces it.
It's more of a classic.
Yeah.
It's not completely dated.
No.
I agree. My favorite song was Sweet Emotion, which I think was the first song.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Every time I hear that song, I do think of this movie. Because I almost feel like it was like the theme of the song. And And towards the end of the movie, apparently they're going to go get Aerosmith tickets, which I'm like, okay, cool, whatever.
Aerosmith's here in 3 weeks, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was some Black Sabbath. My favorite was they played Foghat Slow Ride, which I love that song, but also me and you, every time me and Ashley would drive to Vegas, we would have to pass this total biker bar that's in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And for the longest time, they had signs coming up like advertising Foghat was going to be performing there in August, we'll say. But it seemed like those signs were up for years.
It was a really long time, because I remember the minute they took them down, I was like, oh man,
we miss Foghat.
Foghat's not coming anymore.
And then the last one that I caught was Summer Breeze by Seals and Croft, which is just
awesome.
a beautiful
Didn't
song.
Did they play a Kiss song?
Yes.
Okay, they did.
Rock and Roll All Night.
Okay, they did. They did.
And Part of Every Day.
Part of Every Day.
I can't commit to...
Quote from
Paul
one
Rudd.
of our favorite movies, Role Models.
Yes, Paul Rudd. He's a delightful human being. But yeah, this is a really good soundtrack.
Yeah. So that was all I had. Did you have anything else?
No. That's all I had as well.
Let's move on. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah.
Kids would call it a throwback. We call it the prime of our teens, except this movie is set in 1976, so...
Our parents call it the prime of their teens.
Not even. My mom, for sure.
My dad?
Your dad and your mom.
No.
My dad's really old.
Yeah, he is.
So it was more 60s, but I guess you're right.
I guess technically my dad would have been 20.
My mom would have been 17.
So yeah, your mom.
So this is the prime of my mom's teens.
Of our mom's teens, yeah. Because
I could totally see my mom being one of those women. She wasn't a cheerleader though, but she probably had the instinct of Darla.
Yes. What pieces of awesome fashion did you notice?
Set in 1976. I can't emphasize that enough because the clothing is amazing. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite things was in the very beginning of the movie, the seniors drive to the junior high and they're on the speakerphone and they're yelling at the kids, like, get ready to get your ass kicked.
We're going to paddle the shit out of you.
Yeah, your ass paddled.
Yeah.
And Mitch, who is basically the main character of this movie, or I would say one of the ones that gets focused on more than most of the other characters. His one friend, Carl, is wearing these black and white striped...
He looked like a pirate.
Yeah. I was like, what? Which is funny, because Mitch is wearing an Adidas t-shirt, which I'm like, that's pretty sweet.
That's what I did notice was... I did catch pirate pants.
Yeah.
But I thought it was funny that Mitch is rocking just a classic black and white Adidas shirt.
Right.
And then I did notice some kids wearing Chuck Taylors. And I'm like, well, that tells you that shit is timeless.
Yes.
Because, what are we? We're almost 50 years later.
Yeah,
people still rock Chuck Taylors and break an Adidas shirt.
Very, very true.
Yeah.
And then just the smorgasbord. Did I say that right?
Smorgasbord. I said it like the Swedish chef would
you
say
did.
it.
Bell bottoms.
Yes.
And for the women, high-waisted jeans.
Yes.
Which, to the point where they even had that, they had a scene where people were getting ready for the, Friday night or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're using pliers to zip the jeans.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I hate wearing really tight jeans. Like, I feel so uncomfortable. But that was, like, the thing to do. I remember watching this movie with my mom at one point, one of the rewatches I was doing, and she's just like, yeah, I totally did that. That was what you did. That's how you put your pants on.
Gotta freaking grab the pliers.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Some of the ones that I noticed was Pickford's father, when he's gonna cancel his party for him,
right,
is rocking one hell of a sweet leisure suit.
For sure.
Pretty delightful.
And his shirt was 30 different colors.
Yeah.
It was like silk.
Yeah, it was really nice. And then the baseball coaches wearing
or football.
the one was the football coach, but the other two were baseball coaches.
Oh, I was confused by that.
Now
they're just coaches.
They were wearing short baseball shorts, which I can honestly say our baseball coaches rock those.
Oh, nice. I do remember a couple of my high school coaches or PE teachers wearing some short-ass shorts.
Like, why are you wearing those?
I'm pretty sure they're from the 70s, my teachers never bought new shorts. Is my guess.
Why would you?
And they were wearing knee-high socks. The coaches were.
Oh, yeah.
They were amazing.
Yeah. I realized like 25 years later, my coaches wore the same exact shit.
Yeah. It's like a uniform. Maybe when they graduated from college with their physical education.
They give you a diploma
yeah.
and shorts and knee-high
socks. I just think of Community.
Oh.
They have that one class that's PE education.
Yeah. You gotta wear the uniform.
I think it was actually called PE education. So it's physical education.
Yeah. Total Community.
The one outfit I really recognized was there's a character named Dawson, or Don Dawson, I think is his full name, because when I looked it up on IMDb, it says his name's Don, but I noticed everybody was calling him Dawson, so his name is apparently Don Dawson.
Brother of Richard Dawson of Family Feud fame.
This guy looked like, I think if this movie was made 6 years later, Sean William Scott would have been playing him. He's a kid, in the beginning of the movie he's wearing the overalls, he has the thick eyebrows, kind of looks like that one singer that was in the Scrooged movie, something Poindexter.
Oh, yeah, he did. Good
did
call.
Look like him.
Looks a lot like Buster Poindexter.
Buster Poindexter.
Thank you. Singing hot, hot, hot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And but his nighttime outfit, because he was wearing overalls in the first couple scenes, and then when he changed his outfit, he was wearing like this really loose green button-up shirt that was open at the chest, and then he was wearing Wrangler jeans almost. He looked like Patrick Swayze's stunt double in Roadhouse.
Yes.
He really, I was like, did you guys steal that wardrobe from Roadhouse?
I'm so glad you pointed out that's who he looked like, because I watched it, I'm like, why does this guy look familiar? I looked him up on IMDb, and I'm like, I don't know who this is.
Yeah,
Sasha Jensen?
Yeah.
I don't know who you are. And then the minute you said he looks like the singer from Scrooged, I was like, that's exactly who he looked like.
Yeah. But I thought his essence was very Sean William Scott.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I was like, if this movie was made 6 years later.
Yeah.
Definitely
so true.
Sean William Scott. Did you have anything else as far as fashion choices?
The last one that I noticed was there's a character named Michelle, which we'll cover who plays her here in our next category. But she was rocking this sweet brown vest with fringe all over it. And I'm like, man, that is 70s hippie, far out, man. Crap.
That's almost
delightful.
Like she's trying to bring it back, like from the 60s to
That's
the 70s.
True. I got my generations all mixed up.
You did a little, but, it's only 10 years or so.
That's true. Touche.
How about we move on to any offensive jokes or dated references? Did you see any?
I had a few dated references. We kind of talked about some of the soundtracks, which Pickford's bedroom wall, he had a sweet Dark Side of the Moon poster and an Awesome Kiss poster.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of laughing to myself because the other day we were at a department store and they have just graphic tees and they have Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon t-shirt.
Yeah, that's
still for sale.
Yeah, I've seen that shirt constantly the last 10 years.
It's
since
timeless. Graphic
tees became a more widespread thing.
So I kind of chuckled at that. Which ones did you notice?
Well, I'll add on to that. On Mitch's room, towards the end of the movie, he had an Elton John poster, which was pretty sweet. Just some of the things that people were saying. At the beginning of the movie, when we talked about how the coaches had the short shorts and the socks, the coach that they're talking to is like chasing the muff around. And I'm like, ugh, muff.
Oh, boy.
Gross.
Yeah.
It's just, that word's dated and also it's demeaning.
Yeah, it is very dated. Nobody says that.
And then the stoner group, there's the little cliques in this movie. There's, Yeah. I want to compare it a little bit to Can't Hardly Wait because it's a movie that's set all in one day. And it's set in high school. It's end of the year. People aren't graduating, but it still has that, like, there's the cliques and it's kind of an ensemble thing where it's not really focusing so much on one character. It's just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, there's no, like, true star.
Yeah, the stoner group where they stole some statues and they painted kiss faces on them. which is the 70s. And
Yeah.
Kiss was one of my mom's favorite bands, so
Mm-hmm.
apparently every other teenager's favorite band.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a point where a pregnant lady was in a liquor store and she's smoking and buying a bottle of liquor, which is amazing.
And the guy selling him the liquor was telling her, like, make sure you eat a green vegetable every day. You're selling her booze.
Yeah. It dates it in the sense of, people could get away with this because it was before we were completely aware that certain things did danger the health of your child if you were pregnant.
Some of the ones that I noticed was there was a couple drive-ins.
Yes.
We still have drive-ins in the sense, like, I'm pretty sure Sonic is basically everywhere. But that's the only one that's kind of really still around. And then I did a lot of the old cars. Like, I noticed, like, a VW bus, and, like, there was a Stingray in a parking lot and all that, which, I mean, that's to be expected.
There was a good array of cars, for sure.
Did you notice any other ones?
I did. Oh, I pointed out that there was the legal drinking age was actually 18.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a scene where Mitch goes to buy alcohol, and he's got a baby face. He looks pretty young. But he manages to get it sold because he just kind of reiterates a story that...
Wooderson?
I don't know. Yeah. Matthew McConaughey. We already noted that he was in the movie.
He's in this.
He just, like, reiterates a story that he said, because Matthew McConaughey is probably, like, 25, would you say?
Yeah.
He's way older than the other kids. And
they acknowledge that he's already graduated and stuff like that.
There's a lot of acknowledgement there.
Yeah.
The fact that he could get away with that is plausible because the drinking age is 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up because I honestly don't remember when they changed the drinking age, but apparently it was changed between 1984 and 86.
Mm-hmm.
So we've never really lived in a world where the drinking age was not 21. So
sad.
I remember watching that 70s show for the first time, and they mentioned how it's 18, and I was so mad because that show started in 98, right?
That sounds correct.
So I was, to that age where I wanted to drink, kind of, because I thought it was cool. Yeah. And I was like, man, I could drink in 6 years if they never changed it. I remember being so pissed off at that. My mom was just like, shut up.
Shut up, Ashley. The character Darla, they're gonna haze the incoming freshman girls. Yes. And she's just going overboard and calling them sluts and making him go over and propose to your boy Don. And I'm like, God, that's...
Why is he my boy?
Because you brought him up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he was kind of a dick about it.
Buster Poindexter light. So, yeah, I was just like, that's stuff that's not classy. You're slut-shaming a bunch of 14-year-olds.
The other one was O'Bannon. Mm-hmm. When he finally gets what's coming to him, and the freshman group decide to take their revenge on this guy that's been chasing him down for the whole night and making their lives a living hell. He gets so mad because they dump paint on him, and he pushes Mitch, and he's like, freshman faggot. His character was the worst.
That was my funniest moment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I can edit that out.
No, I'll put it in there now, so when we get to it, we'll talk about that. I just like how he was a dick. Yeah. The whole movie, and he is swinging for the fences with that fucking paddle. Yeah. Holy crap. Good God, you're a psychopath. But I just like how, he's covered in paint, and he loses his mind, and he's freaking out at everyone. Then he gets in his car. Dude, you're getting in your car, and you're covered in paint. Yeah. What are you doing? Dummy. And everyone thinks he's going to, like, put his car in reverse, and he just puts it in drives through landscaping, and they're like, dude, what are you doing? But yeah, he's always like, what are you looking at, faggot?
He's definitely one of those characters that people just tolerated, and he was like a bully. Yeah. Nobody really liked him.
Nobody felt bad when he got paint on.
No.
Not one person was like, oh man, dude, that sucks.
Even the group of guys that he's been like running around with the whole night.
Whatever.
Which I thought was funny, but...
Touche.
Should we move on?
Yes, we shall.
Go ahead.
We're going to go on to our next category, which we call, well, hello there. It's any cameos by famous or recognizable actors or actresses that we may have forgot were in the film, and holy crap, there is a ton of them.
There is.
So, which famous or recognizable people did you notice?
There was quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
And having seen this movie so many times, I vaguely remembered a lot of them.
Yeah.
But just as a reiteration, I'll just name a couple that I kind of forgot. I forgot Anthony Rapp was in it as Tony, who's one of the... There's a group of kind of nerdy people, but they're actually just more... They're not so much nerds as just really kind of overachievers.
Yeah.
More intellectual.
Almost preps.
Preppy.
More so than nerds.
Yeah, like, obviously they care about their future. They don't really care about partying that much, but they're not picked on or anything like that. People give them shit a little bit, but not...
They still get, like, invited to the party and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And Anthony Rapp, for anybody that doesn't know where he's from, he's in Rent. Like, he was in the original production of Rent.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of different things.
I know him mainly from...
Road Trip.
Yeah, exactly. With Tom Green and Sean William Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first thing I think I ever remember him.
And he's been in various other things.
Yeah.
But...
His buddy in the movie is Adam Goldberg.
Yeah.
Who plays Mike, which I know Adam Goldberg mainly as Eddie from Friends.
Yes.
Who was Chandler's...
creepy-ass roommate.
Creepy-ass replacement for Joey. And I think he lasts like maybe 4 episodes. But he was funny as hell on that. Who else did you notice?
Parker Posey as Darla, the senior cheerleader who I decided was basically the female equivalent to O'Bannon.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Ben Affleck, if we didn't mention it. I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
So that's who O'Bannon is. Mm-hmm. He's the big dick who needs to beat on little children to feel better about himself. Mm-hmm. And who else?
The one that I kind of talked about earlier, wearing a brown fringy vest, her name was Michelle, was played by Mila Jovovich.
Oh, yes.
Or Jovovich, I think is how you would actually say it. But
I never forget that she's in the movie because I want to say she's on the case, which is crazy because she has a very, very small part. She doesn't even talk.
Extremely small part.
I think she's seen a lot compared to some of the other characters, but she doesn't really talk.
That's a great point because... kind of only having seen this movie I think once or twice, I'm like going, who was in it? And I remembered she was in it because she's on the case, and then you're like, I don't know why you're on the case for this movie. Because
I guess she looks the part.
And maybe as time went on, she's become a much bigger name in Hollywood than what she was.
Especially in the late 90s. She was, Resident Evil was out.
Huge.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Rory Cochrane.
Yes.
Played Slater, who is the typical stoner.
Oh, my God.
He's a character actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. Argo, he was in, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah. I had to look it up.
Okay.
Because I was like, what is this guy from? And he's from Empire Records, is probably the most notable thing that he's in. What else? He's been in a lot of stuff. If you look at his IMDb, he's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's been on a bunch of the CSIs and 24. But
And then the other person, speaking of Empire Records, was Renee Zellweger, who didn't even have a line.
No.
She was just another one of the senior cheerleaders hazing the freshmen. Mm-hmm. And she was kind of just following Darla around, was Parker Posey's character.
You blink and you miss
Pretty much, because I was like, I want to say there was somebody pretty famous as one of the cheerleaders, and I kept like scanning. I'm like, I remember Parker Posey and Joey Lauren Adams, because they actually have a couple lines. Yeah. But yeah, for sure her. And who else did you have?
You actually just mentioned the one, which was Joey Lauren Adams, and then lastly on my front is superstar. We talked about him, but he played Wooderson. Academy Award winner Matthew McConaughey.
Yes.
And he's just fantastic.
I think when you think of Matthew McConaughey as a person, this is the person you think of him as, because he's saying the all right.
It's the role he was born to play.
Yes, and it's probably one of his first roles.
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
This movie is set in Texas. I'm pretty sure it was filmed in Texas.
That would make sense.
He's from Texas, so.
Well, he loves his UT.
The other person I noticed, because as I was looking at him, I'm like, he looks really familiar. And I couldn't pinpoint a certain role that he was in that I could say, oh, he's so-and-so for this, but he's been in a lot of like action movies. his name is Cole Hauser. He played Benny, the football player who had kind of the red afro and the trucker hat. Uh-huh. And he's been in a bunch of movies kind of as villain types, it looks like. He was in Too Fast, Too Furious. Oh. And I can't remember any of the other movies, but he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Was he in 3 Fast, 3 Furious? That's not a thing. It should be.
The early 2000s were so much better for action movie titles. But that was the only other person that I had, other than Giovanna Ribisi's sister, Marissa Ribisi. You make me question how to say that last name.
It's just because I can't talk.
Yeah. She plays Cynthia, which is part of the smart group of kids. She's the girl with the curly red hair that Matthew McConaughey hits on. Yeah. Creepily.
Yes. Are you ready to move on to our next category?
Yeah. Our next category is called Is It Even Good? Where we talk about the plot and the casting choices, and we tell our funniest and cringiest line, and I have a lot of notes on this section. I will tell you that.
Well, you can go nuts. What did you think about the plot?
I thought the whole concept, especially at the beginning of the movie, of these to-be seniors are becoming a little power hungry, and they're excited to finally get to be able to haze the freshmen. That's believable because I do remember what it was like to be a senior in high school. Yeah. Even though it was a super long time ago. But I still remember that almost like joy, like you don't give a fuck. You're almost out of this place, and you're the king and queen of the schools. Yes. So,
and especially the hazing part was huge in the 60s and 70s. Like, we weren't allowed to haze people.
We were allowed to haze, like, for sports, they were allowed to haze a little bit, but it was very innocent things.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were allowed to do a little bit, which I want to say, put the kibosh on it when I was in school. I think by the time I was a senior, because it kind of went a little overboard. Yeah. Some of the cheerleaders had recruiting their little minions, and they put the kibosh and were like, no more of that. But I know from like talking to like my dad, my uncle, they would haze you to get your Letterman's jacket.
Oh, wow.
And so stuff like that, I'm like, well, totally believable.
Yeah. I do feel that it kind of loses the plot a little. I honestly don't know exactly what the point of this movie is, because there's no one focus other than it's just a day in the life of these people.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
And I'm like, and I'm not saying it's badly done or anything like that. It's just, you know how like Can't Hardly Wait, I'll compare those two again. There's a general plot of the guy wants to get the girl or tell the girl that he's been crushing on for like years that he likes her. There's no plot like that.
That's very true.
So it's just kind of this overview of here's a group of kids and this is what their life is the last day of school. Yeah. Which is not bad. But
no, but yeah, you bring up a good point. Like, it's like, what was the end game supposed to be? Yeah. There really isn't any.
The next day. Yeah. The end. But I do love how the seniors were always calling the freshmen like babies or junior. Yeah. Because it's funny to me because I think when you're that age, like 17, 3 years seems like a really long gap. But as adults, I would never call somebody that was 29 a baby. No. Or 30. It doesn't seem like your gap gets smaller. But when you're younger, it seems like so far in between.
Definitely.
It's just funny to me.
Like, I remember, like, we would give friends crap if they were dating a freshman. Yeah. Like, how dare they're so old.
But nobody would bat an eye.
They're a baby, and now you're like, yeah, if you're 31 and you're dating a 27-year-old, no one's caring. No.
Could go up quite a few years, and nobody would bat an eye.
Exactly.
Did you have any other notes about the plot?
No, I agree. Like, it was a fine plot, but I didn't really think... You dissected it a little more where I'm going, good point. There really was no point.
Critical thinking skills.
Good job.
The other thing I noticed that I wanted to point out was I felt like Randy, who was played by Jason London, and Jody, who was Mitch's sister, who I can't remember the actress's name.
Michelle Burke.
Okay. She was in Coneheads, apparently.
And Major League 2.
I didn't really watch Major League 2 that much.
Well, it's a good one.
But I've seen Coneheads quite a few times.
She plays Charlie Sheen's girlfriend.
Oh. So. What year did that movie come out?
94. So right after this.
Okay. I'm not going to question that at all.
Well.
I felt like they were very similar characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they kind of had this mirrored journey as far as they're like the seniors that don't really care so much about the traditions of hazing
Mm-hmm.
the other kids, and they're trying to be nice, so they both pick out like a mentee
Mm-hmm.
freshman to kind of mentor and be, nice to.
Yeah.
So I thought their journeys were very similar, and I had pointed out that I felt like Darla, who is Parker Posey's character, who was taking the hazing way too seriously,
Mm-hmm.
and O'Bannon, who's Ben Affleck's character, was also kind of a psychopath.
Yeah. I think we
taking the hazing.
I think we can agree Ben Affleck's character is locked up in jail at some point.
Yeah, he died somehow in a freak accident.
Yeah. Maybe covered in paint driving a car, he crashed into a tree.
That's just how the movie should have ended.
Depressing.
But that's pretty much all I had. What did you think about the casting choices?
I kind of always pick on it, but it didn't really bother me. I looked it up. Mainly, everybody was kind of between the age of like 22 to 25, playing 15 to 18-year-olds.
Right.
But with that said, I think the acting was overall really well and really good.
I agree.
So, as far as the age, I like to pick on it a lot, but I thought it was fine. What about you?
I thought as far as that, I thought the people that were supposed to be freshmen did look like freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
The people that looked like seniors did, in comparison, look like seniors. Like, they looked older.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, except for the freshman girl that they kind of take.
Yeah,
that Jodie
she
takes
looked
in her
like
wing.
a senior.
Her name was Sabrina. She looked very mature compared to Mitch.
Yeah.
But, girls mature faster than boys, so maybe that. I liked it, and I did like how the nerdy group, they were smarter and mature, and they weren't like, oh, let's pick on this nerdy group.
Yeah.
People, like, ragged on them. I think they called them the two reporters that I can't think their name.
Oh, Woodward and Bernstein.
Yeah, which I'm like, it's kind of a compliment, right? They're really good reporters,
Yeah.
so thank you.
Hugely famous.
And they were friends with Randy.
Yeah.
So, and who's extremely popular. He's probably like the most popular guy in school. So,
Agreed.
I liked all the casting choices.
Exactly.
I'm just going off on tangents.
No, I agree with you. Like, there wasn't anyone around like, oh, why is this person in this movie? Like, this person's terrible. And like you pointed out, a lot of these people, it's some of their first roles. I looked up. This is McConaughey's first movie. His other credits going into this point was a Trisha Yearwood music video.
Oh.
And he was on an episode of Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh, we saw that one.
Yes. That's
it was like
what he had done.
the first episode.
Yes, this is what McConaughey had done before this movie.
That's
and
amazing.
all the people are good. Should we move on to the next category, which I'll go ahead and tee it up for you?
What's the next category?
What was your funniest moment? Because we already talked about mine.
I was like, that's not a category. That's a subcategory, actually.
But you always introduce it, so it doesn't make sense if you were saying it to like, hey, Ryan, what's your I'm like, I already talked about mine.
We're doing amazing today.
Yeah.
So much editing today.
Yeah.
My funniest line is just something I remember from rewatching this movie so much, is the nerdy kids are in the car, they're driving around, and Adam Goldberg's character Mike is talking about how he doesn't know if he wants to do his path in life, and because they're all overachievers, they're going to be successful.
Yeah.
Because they're planning this and their lives are paved out. And they're like, well, what do you want to do with your life? He's like, I just want to dance. I love that because it's so random and it makes me laugh. Obviously, yours is when O'Bannon freaks out. So
Yes, that was mine.
So what was your cringiest moment?
My cringiest moment is there's a character. His name's Nicky, who Adam Goldberg's character. They're kind of at like a out in the woods party, and Adam Goldberg's character Mike walks by and he just says, "Someone's
It's Clint. The actor's name is Nicky.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, sorry, because I have notes about him too.
So Adam Goldberg's character just walks by and he's like, all he does is say, "Someone's cooking some reefer."
Smoking.
I thought he says cooking.
Oh, maybe that's the joke because
Yeah.
they're not very good at the drugs and the drinking. Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
So then Clint goes into like roid rage mode.
Yeah.
And just loses his mind. And he's, all I want to do is kick some ass and drink some beer. And it looks like we're almost out of beer. Which My issue with it, and why I said it was cringy, was I'm pretty sure that line is written to play off of Roddy Piper's "I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum," and it looks like I'm all out of bubblegum, which is from They Live, which came out in 1988.
So before this movie.
Before this movie, but 1988, this is set in 76.
That's true.
And that's all, because I'm like, that's a famous line from
Yeah.
a John Carpenter movie. That's probably the, most famous
So
thing.
it wasn't supposed to reference that. They just kind of stole it. Is what you're
felt
saying.
I feel like they almost, they didn't like say like, this is from They Live, but I felt like that's what the writer was channeling, was this They Live scene.
Yeah. Funny thing, I wrote that exact same thing as my cringiest line. Because that guy was just such a douche. And he said something earlier, like right before that that was really cringy too. And it's funny because Adam Goldberg's like, him and his friends are the opposite of the really macho type. They're intellectual. And this guy is obviously not. He's very sensitive.
He like rips his shirt off and I'm like going, maybe it's just me. I was not a stoner. I've known people that were. They are not like that.
They're not aggressive.
They're not like wanting to fight you. They're pretty chill.
To be a stereotype, but they are a little more like the stoner group.
Yeah. There's
in the
another
movie.
stoner in this movie. You talked about him, Slater. That guy is like the stoners I knew.
He's delightful. He's
just happy.
There, yeah. He's just chillaxing.
So,
That's funny that we picked the same moment. Sometimes we share the same brain.
Oh, we do.
We've been known to pick the same people for the awards.
Yes.
Obviously, but it's funny that we picked the cringiest moment the same. I have some additional...
I do not, so I'm ready to listen.
Oh, let me just go on a tangent. No, obviously you can join in on what you thought. But I love how in movies, the last day of school, people are just going crazy. They're throwing paper.
Yep.
Like it's the end of the world and it's just mayhem. But honestly, in reality, that administration, this teachers, principal, are watching you like a hawk. They're watching you throw your shit in the garbage.
Yeah.
If you did that, they would yell at you without hesitation.
Yeah. I went to school 12 years. Nobody ever did that.
Yeah, no.
No.
I mean, there was, you threw shit away.
Yeah.
Like, we always had a time where it's like, no, it's your guys' turn to clean out your lockers.
Go clean
and
out
they had
your
a bunch
locker,
of trash cans lined up and you threw away. Teachers were watching you, You couldn't just throw your shit everywhere.
I went to high school, obviously 4 years, like everyone. Never had a locker.
Ugh. That sucks.
And I'll tell you right now, it sucked
my
ass when you
school
were a
shitty.
freshman and you're carrying around all those freaking hardback books. But nobody does that, though. Chucks paper like that.
Maybe some random lax schools.
I guess.
Who knows? Maybe in the 70s it was different. Teachers were like, I don't give a fuck.
No fucks left to
The
give.
janitor will clean it up.
Not my problem.
And just to convey the only plot that kind of existed in this movie was an old couple was talking to Randy, who is Jason London's character, at the baseball game. It was like Mitch's baseball game. They're waiting for him to get done so they can kick his ass. Mm-hmm. And there's this old couple talking to him about football because he's the quarterback. Yep. And just that whole pressure from the community.
To be good.
I mean, obviously it's set in Texas, so Texas is a huge football thing.
Oh, yeah.
Friday Night Lights, I mean.
Come on.
Tim Riggins.
Clear eyes, full hearts.
Can't lose.
Damn straight.
But I grew up in a town that basically should have been set in Texas. It was in Montana, but similar situations. Football was everything. Mm-hmm. The school was packed. Like, the field would be packed on Friday nights.
Yeah.
That was what everybody did in that town, pretty much. And so I just thought it was funny because in any instance, an older couple walking up to a 17-year-old boy that they're not related to would be weird, but not in a small town when they all they care is about football.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What else do I have here? I have so many notes. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to talk about as an adult is public destruction. Well,
you're gonna get on your soapbox and be like, "Don't do this, kids."
When you're a kid, when they do it in movies, you think it's funny, and sometimes you even get the idea, hey, we should go joyriding and take a baseball bat and hit people's mailboxes.
Yeah.
Especially when you live in a small town.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I never did it, but I know kids that did.
Yeah.
But it's just mean. As an adult watching it, I'm like, Man, that guy who got the bowling ball thrown into his car,
God.
he's going to have a hard time calling his insurance company in the morning.
Yeah, he's going to have to pay his deductible.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. No, I agree with you. I was like, when they were doing it, I'm like, oh, this is jerk. And then
This is jerk.
This is such a jerk move. But then when the one guy catches up to them,
Yeah.
he got his mailbox destroyed, and he drives up and runs up to them and points a gun in their face.
It's Texas.
I was like, there was 2 instances in this movie where people brandished firearms at juveniles.
Yeah.
The one kid's mom, like, pulls a shotgun
It was
on Ben
Mitch's
Affleck.
friend's mom,
Yeah.
Carl.
And then this guy here just ran right up and just shoves a pistol right in their face because he thinks they destroyed his mailbox. I'm like, you are crazy.
For sure. Yeah. That was pretty much all I had.
Okay.
So I just wanted to... It's just one of those things that when I'm a kid, I'm seeing, I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because you don't really think of it as, through adult eyes. When you actually own things, you're like, man, if I woke up and my car window was broken or my mailbox was destroyed, I'd be pissed.
I would be furious. I remember my car got egged when I was an adult, so I know it wasn't like one of my friends playing it like as a joke on me. I think I was like 20. And I was furious. Fucking douche, why are you egging my car?
But when you're a kid, you don't think of those consequences.
No, I can honestly say I never egged anyone's property.
I don't think we egged anything.
No.
I've done some questionable things when I was
Yeah,
a kid.
oh yeah. No, I did plenty of questionable things, but I never egged. I never destroyed anybody else's property. I can say that.
Okay. The one I remember was this guy, we were seniors, and this guy kind of pissed off my friend. He insulted her, or he made up a rumor about her. I can't remember the logistics of it. But he used to park his car in this lot that was halfway to the city from where we lived, and we knew it, so we just drove over there one day, and we poured orange juice and pretty much whatever we had in her truck down his windshields into his car.
vents.
Yeah.
Ooh, jerk move.
Yeah, but don't talk shit.
Yeah.
Don't make up rumors.
There you go.
That's
the moral of the story.
It's not just to let it go or anything like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so should we move on?
Yes, we
to
shall.
Our final thoughts.
Final thoughts, and as always, on Rooting Our Childhood, it is award season.
It is.
We give out 2 awards. The first is the valedictorian to the Nicolas Cage Online School of Bad Acting. And who did you give your award to?
So you said earlier that you felt like overall the acting was good.
Yeah.
Well, there was one person I felt was notably bad.
Okay.
It was Mitch.
Okay.
His
I'll allow it.
the actor's name is Wiley Wiggins, which is a silly name, but
Yeah, pretty bad.
whatever. His dramatic acting included touching his face and scrunching his face a lot. And if you guys watch this movie after you listen to this, I'm just going to ruin his whole character for you, because he does this thing where he puts his fingers in between his forehead, like between his eyebrows, and he scrunches his face all the time for sometimes seemingly no reason. And in one part specifically, he tells his sister, or his sister tells him that she asked the group of guys to go easy on him.
Yeah.
When they were going to haze him. And he was like, no wonder. And just his face and his delivery wasn't great.
No.
It's probably something I wouldn't have noticed if he was a minor character, but this movie does focus a lot of its attention on him. So I just felt like that was the reason.
And I kept it in the family and gave my award to Michelle Burke, who plays his sister, Jodie.
Must be a related thing.
Yeah, because I just felt like all of their interactions were like they had never met one another.
Yeah.
But they're supposed to be brother and sister.
Yeah.
Like, when they would talk to each other, when they ran into one another, I was like, who the hell are you guys? You guys aren't related.
No.
You guys aren't convincing as family. I obviously have 2 brothers. I wasn't too thrilled when I would run into one of them at a party.
Right.
She seemingly is totally okay with her baby brother being out there and her friends interact. I'm like, no, it doesn't happen like that.
For sure. Having been the little sister in that scenario and being the freshman, I talked about it in the beginning of this podcast. where everybody's like, oh, it's baby Ashley.
Yeah.
It's Brandon's little sister. Yeah. He was not happy for me to be in any parties. I never really was, but if the occasional times.
And that was the thing. I was also like, there are all these, back to the kind of a plot point, is like, these new seniors are so willing to invite these freshmen out with them. Like, no.
There's a couple that make crack jokes and are like, what the fuck is he doing here?
Yeah, that would be the reaction that you would get. I'm like, oh. It wasn't like she was a terrible actress. It was the interactions with her brother.
It probably had to do with something with Mitch's bad acting. She had to carry the whole scene.
Yeah, they weren't believable. I'm like, no, you're not related. This is awful.
Yeah.
So.
Should we move on?
Yes, we shall.
To the Thomas J. Hanks Award for Exceptional Acting. Who was yours?
I gave it to the one of 2 Academy Award winners in this film, Matthew McConaughey.
You would.
Just kidding. I never realized this in this movie. He does look like a young Hulk Hogan. If you've ever seen a picture of Hulk Hogan from like 1978.
Yeah, he missed his calling.
Yeah, he should be playing Hogan, not Chris Hemsworth.
He's way too old, man.
Yeah, he'd probably hurt himself. For a person that is an extremely minor character in this movie, he steals all the scenes that he's in. He does.
I agree.
And it is funny that he obviously has become the living embodiment of Wooderson. The guy, Matthew McConaughey's
Other
catchphrase...
than being into underage girls.
Yeah.
Let's put that out there.
His catchphrase is literally, to this day, he will say, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's true.
If you ran into him today, he'd probably say it to you. But I did love when he says, you just gotta keep living. Livin. Which I was just like, something tells me he would say that to you if he was like giving you a motivational speech.
Yeah, if he saw you in an airport,
yeah,
that's like what he's going to tell you.
Yeah, he was so good. And like, it was just mainly, it's impressive that somebody who has such a small character and no acting experience, he was delightful and stole every scene.
Very true.
Who did you give yours to?
Kind of by default, just because this is the other person they focused on a lot in this movie was Jason London's character, yes. Randy, or Pink, which...
as he was credited in the credits.
Yeah, but I think like one person called him Pink. Most people called him Randy. Because I feel like he was the only one that had some sort of character development other than Mitch. And he's actually a decent actor. All of his scenes weren't cringy or anything like that. Like I felt like Mitch's was. And his whole plot where he doesn't really want to be pressured into signing that team commitment, like the anti-drug pledge.
Yeah.
The school is trying to make all the football players sign. And he's questioning if it even likes being a football player, which is like a big no-no, obviously, in this town, like we said.
Yeah.
And his character is decent. He's nice to the younger kids. He is friends with everyone. He's like the thing that connects all those groups of people. He's friends with the intellectual kids. He's friends with the stoners. He's friends with the jocks. And I don't know. That's why I gave it to him, because I liked his character and his development. And he's a good actor. And I obviously was in love with him when I was a kid. So I am a little biased, but I also think...
No, he was very good.
Rewatching this, because there's been times where I'll point it out in Cruel Intentions where Sebastian was my favorite character and Ryan Phillippe was, a god to me.
Yes. And
rewatching it, I'm like, oh, why? Yeah. Why did I think that? In this case, it stayed the same. I thought he was a good character, and I would say if there was a main character, it was him and Mitch.
Yeah, I agree. He was the main character.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So, we can move it along to our final question. Do you think this movie holds up? I
totally think it holds up. I don't think there was any part where I was just like, oh, this is just bad, other than Mitch and Jody's interactions. It was just a fun movie. It wasn't cringy watching it, and it seems like the period piece movies really hold up well.
They do, because I feel like it's harder to judge them as being outdated when they are supposed to be outdated.
Yeah.
So that's the point of the movie. So I think that really helps in this case as well. And I agree. It does hold up. I think other than when I looked at it as a whole, there wasn't really a whole plot other than kind of what I just said, where Randy doesn't know if he wants to play football next year. And at the end of the movie, he after the coach is yelling at him and telling him he shouldn't hang out with the stoners and
Yeah.
they're going to ruin his life, whatever. And he's just like, you know what? I'll play football, but I'm not going to sign this thing.
Yeah.
And they never really tell you if they're like, cool.
And kicked him off the team.
Honestly, they're probably going to, realistically, they're going to let him play because do they really have a better quarterback?
No.
Probably not.
Nah.
They didn't introduce one, but
Nah.
let's
Unless
be realistic.
curveball, Mitch was a pitcher. What?
He takes his spot.
He actually, what he does is he kills Randy, like just slits his throat, takes over his life. Beautiful.
This movie got really
It
dark.
got real dark.
Dazed and Confused 2 is going to be a very dark movie.
Really dark movie.
But yeah, I agree. Since there wasn't like a complete plot, it doesn't really take away from the movie though.
Yeah.
Like it would in other movies because it's kind of just like, hey, look at this time period and how everybody is having fun tonight. And
Yeah.
blowing off steam in some cases or trying to find love or, there's just various things. I like movies like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I always liked them when I was younger because there could be more actors and different stories but not all movies are good at connecting them, and I think this one was good at kind of connecting it all and making it a cohesive film.
Yeah, agreed.
So, yeah.
So we agree. Delightful film that holds up.
We agree. We need to have like little theme songs or
Yeah, that'd be fun.
little I don't know. Well, we'll get there at one point. Oh, the thing we forgot to mention that I'll mention right now in our closing is we just wanted to remind everybody to send us questions because for episode 20, which will be our next episode, we will be answering questions about ourselves. And if nobody sends us questions, we'll just answer generic questions I got from the internet.
Exactly.
So,
We're going to do a little Q&A.
So send us a DM on Instagram at Ruining Our Childhood or on Facebook. Just send us a DM with any of your questions that you have about us. We don't talk about ourselves that much.
No.
So we thought we would do this. It'd be a little fun thing. If you've been listening to us the last 18 episodes, then maybe you want to know a little bit more about us.
Yeah. Learn about your podcast host.
Ryan and Ashley.
Yeah. And also, if you want to learn anything about official dog of the Ruining Our Childhood podcast, Rupert, we can bring him in here.
He has a very interesting backstory.
Maybe he can answer some questions for you.
Probably not. He
Probably
is a dog.
not. He is. Well, he'll give you a good...
Yeah, he likes to make weird noises sometimes.
So we gave out the Instagram and the Facebook. And lastly, obviously, hit us up on Twitter at the ROC Movie Podcast.
Yep.
And throw us a review on iTunes. I don't know why my voice got so high.
Yeah, or if you're listening to us on a random app, if there's any sort of like button or heart button.
Yes.
Or share it with a friend or family member or enemy, as we've said before.
Enemies are big ones. Tell them. When you're like punching them, and hopefully like in this movie when Douchebag is punching Adam Goldberg,
Clint.
and they go with like a point of view shot, and he's throwing punches at him that are crossing the camera, so it just looks like he's punching Mike in the shoulder repeatedly.
Yeah.
That was cringy.
That's true.
So yeah, go ahead, do that.
Yeah.
Just punch him and be like, listen to Ruining Our Childhood. Punch.
But
punch.
Don't try to, make people violent here.
Good point. Hug them.
I'd like to think that our viewers are not violent people.
Hopefully.
Wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're out of here, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Hey guys, we want to talk to you a little bit about the Podcoin app.
Yes! The Podcoin app. It pays you to listen to Ruining Our Childhood, as well as your other favorite podcasts. You can use the Podcoin you earn to claim gift cards for some of your favorite stores.
What? Starbucks?
Check.
Amazon?
Correct.
Target. Seriously, guys, this is pretty legit. Join the Podcoin app today on iPhone or Android, and I said join, but I meant download.
You've got to download
and
it.
use code RUINING to get 300 Podcoin just for signing up.
That's 300 Podcoin for using RUIN I-N-G.
That's how you spell ruining, just in case you don't know that.
Yes.
So if you're basically listening to podcasts all day anyways while you're working or driving or doing anything, might as well make some money off the deal. Am I right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, free coffee for something you're already doing sounds fantastic.
It does sound fantastic.
Take a shot.
So go give the Podcoin app a try today. And also don't forget to listen to Ruining Our Childhood and make some money, guys.
Okay.
Bye.